Hey, gays, gals, non binary pals, and every mystical misfit who's just wandered in. Protection magic has always been a survival skill, and one of the oldest, strangest, most iconic forms of it, the witch bottle. A mix of pins, nails, hair, herbs, sealed in glass, and buried beneath the hearth or threshold to keep harm out. Its history, its folklore, its spell work, and it's still relevant today. Question: what's the weirdest or most unexpected thing you've ever used or would use in a spell? Drop it below. I promise this is a judgment free cauldron. The witch bottle goes back centuries, especially in England around the 16th and 17th centuries. People believed these bottles trapped curses, ill will, or even evil spirits directed at the household. Typical contents would contain pins or nails for piercing, hair or nail clippings as tag locks, herbs like rosemary for protection, sometimes even urine. Yeah, like literal to link the magic back to the body it was meant to protect. They were buried under thresholds, fireplaces, or hidden in walls sometimes. The idea was simple: the bottle would absorb the malice, pierce it, and seal it away. It wasn't just witches using them either. Everyday people made them too, which is wild. The fear of witches literally created more witchcraft. What is that? It's like trying not to think of pink elephants and suddenly, boom, you're running a whole elephant sanctuary. And here's the queer tie in: survival magic has always been about adaptation. Witch bottles are proof that when people felt unsafe, they got creative. They made protection tangible. What's one thing you've done, magical or mundane, to protect your peace? Share in the comments below. So, here's a practice where you can craft your own version for a modern life. But before that, quick pause. Let's stop with my oration and have a little bit of a conversation. If you're building your own witch bottle right now, what's the very first item you'd put inside? A crystal, a thorn, a lock of hair? Drop it in the comments. I want to see what everyone comes up with. And yes, the House of H is home of retreats, rituals, witch school, and queer magic that thrives. But for now, it's all about protection magic. So let's dream up those bottles together. Before we even get into bottles and pins, let's talk about space. Whenever you're doing magic, it's powerful to create a distinction, a way to signal that where you are right now is sacred, set apart from the work you're about to do. For me, that starts with cleansing. I usually burn incense. I make my own blends with rosemary, oregano, and a few other herbs. Sound is also huge for me. I love playing my monochord to shift the energy in a room. For others, it might look different, maybe filling a goblet or cauldron with salt water and sprinkling it around the space, or ringing bells or clapping in the corners, whatever works for you to move stagnant energy. After cleansing, I like to cast a circle. Again, countless ways to do this. Some people stand in the center and point with a finger or an athame to trace their boundary. Others walk clockwise, marking the circle as they go. The Golden Dawn has a whole formal process with quarter calls and all this stuff. Me, I keep it pretty simple. I visualize a giant bubble forming around my space. Think Glinda the Good Witch on the outside, but with like an elf of a core. Digestible for the masses, but still carrying a burning desire to dismantle the system. Anyway, I digress. And here's the thing: protection is theater, but it's also truth. The bubble holds because you decide it does. Once the bubble is in place, I test it. I imagine something heavy falling onto it. If it pops, I rebuild it stronger. When it holds, I seal it with the words, as above, so below, as without, so within. Let this witch's work begin. Your witch's bottle can be any size, but for this practice, I recommend a large baby food jar bottle, one of the taller ones. If you're working with Fae, skip metal and choose a jar with a cork closure. You'll also want a black candle. This can be burned on top of the sealed jar at the end to close and charge the spell. I would also suggest you think of this spell in kind of three layers: something sharp, something personal, something protective. So for something sharp, it would be things like pins, nails, or barbed wire. Again, if you're working with the Fae, thorns work beautifully. This serves two functions: to pierce and trap harmful energy, and if you're carving a sigil into your candle, you can use the same pins or nails to tie the energy from one part of the spell to another. Something personal. This is the lure, the thing that convinces any energy directed at you to go into the bottle instead of into your life. Hair, nail clippings, saliva, urine, blood, any bodily fluid will work, really. Be creative. It just has to be yours. Something protective. Think herbs, salt, ashes, dirt from your threshold, even crystals if that feels right. Don't limit yourself here. Lean into what feels true to you. Personally, I love using things like onyx, tourmaline, quartz, smoky quartz, and amber. Amber because it transmutes negative energy into positive. I also like to throw a piece of selenite in because selenite doesn't hold negative charges, so while the other stones are busy working, selenite is constantly clearing the space. This is one of the beautiful parts about a practice like this. It helps you to build a language for speaking to the universe. The universe doesn't speak in words like the way we do, it speaks in symbols. And the more you practice magic in a way that feels authentic to you, the more fluent you and the universe become with one another. This is also a great place to infuse your spell with sigil work if that's part of your practice. You can carve your sigil directly into the candle you'll use to seal the jar, place a drawn sigil on the inside of the jar before sealing it, draw or inscribe the sigil on the lid of the jar itself, right where the candle will sit. It's up to you. Once your jar is filled, affix the jar's closure tightly. Then use wax to secure it. Start by heating the bottom of your black candle until it softens. Press it to the top of the jar so it stands on its own. Take a moment to infuse the candle with your intentions, and as it burns, let the wax drip down the sides and imagine it both blocking harmful energy inside and sealing your protective work into place. Now place your bottle somewhere protective, at your threshold, under your bed, buried near your home, wherever feels right, really. Speak aloud if you wish, either something you've written or borrow this: malice turn back, harm be bound, only blessings may cross this ground. Notice the weight of the jar in your hands. Let it feel solid, like your protection is real and heavy and here. For me, I imagine standing in the center of a glacier, light refracting in every direction. Anything that tries to access me gets lost in the reflections, dissolved and turned into fertilizer. For moi. And for all my gamers and geeks out there, think Shiva's entrance in Final Fantasy X. That's right, not only am I a witch, I'm also a nerd. Once the spell is complete, close and release your circle. Again, there are countless ways to do this. For me, I say, for the good of all and harm to none, if this is thy will, so let it be done. Ashe, ashe, aho. For me, this is a way of acknowledging the divine and ultimately turning trust over to the divine. This is what I want, but ultimately, you know best. Some of the words I use are from protected practices that I have been initiated into. If this closing speaks to you, feel free to use it. If not, write your own or find one that resonates with your practice. And a major key with this spell, and really with most spells, is this: forget about it. Do the work, trust the work, and then release it. That's the practice. Part history, part folklore, part spell work. And it's all about protection. Protection isn't paranoia, it's preparation. Here's your challenge: actually make a witch's bottle this week. When you do, come back here and comment, "Be gay, do magic." That's our way of claiming the spell together. This has been a House of H podcast. Remember, stay fearless, stay feral, and of course, stay fabulous. And if today's episode sparks something in you, if you're ready to bring more protection, grounding, and power into your daily life, let's talk. Comment below or DM me the word UNBOUND, and I'll reach out personally to see if one of my retreats or coaching paths is right for you. Next time, we're going to go deeper into protection, not with bottles, but with boundaries. We'll explore cleansing rituals and circle casting. how witches carve out sacred ground, and why it matters more than ever. And trust me, you'll want to try this one at home. Love you guys. XOXO. Juno.